Hey guys, Drutter here. It's August 13th, 2019, and I thought I would do a vlog style video. I haven't done one of those in a while, just a little hodgepodge of some economic figures and a bit of gardening and stuff like that. So first off, we're looking at silver obviously here. It's just under $17. This is a daily chart. Each bar is 1 day. You can see we hit a low of just under $14 back in June, early June, and end of May. And then this was the real breakout here, a consolidation, and then there's been another smaller leg up since. Earlier today, looks like it's yesterday's candle now, but this is earlier today, was this wild candle. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the stock market. The stock market dropped 400 and something points yesterday and gained 400 and something points today, and it was very volatile. And the US dollar is making moves as well now, so commodities have been volatile. So gold has been up above $1,500 US recently, which is interesting to see. It has been making highs in Canadian currency and Australian currency and many other different world currencies for a while now, but now finally gold is starting to break out in American dollars, i.e. the American dollar is finally starting to weaken a little bit, as it probably should. I'm not going to talk too much about the silver chart here. It is obviously bullish over the past couple of months and consolidating now. There could be another move upward, or we could have a pullback down to around $16 to retest those levels. I have no idea what's going to happen next. It's been a very, 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 very long and ugly bear market. We can go back on a monthly chart. Yeah. There's that $50 top, and what a frickin' disaster since then. That's a technical term. And looking at it logarithmically is a little bit more realistic, but as you can see, the last 3 months have been up months, but this has been a very, very long, dirty, sideways move, and we have not broken out of that yet. Gold may be breaking out a little bit right now on this chart, but the silver chart is not looking good. And that doesn't mean anything necessarily. We could have a good up move in silver here, as I've been saying since the $16 and $14 level. Actually, I've been saying it longer than that. I've been saying it all through here. Even at $50, I was saying it. Buy silver. Buy physical silver. If you don't have any physical silver, buy at least a little bit and have some. As for investing, if you're trying to make money by buying and selling currencies and money itself, that's not my thing. I'm not interested in that. If that's what you do, then go for it. But what I'm saying here now is that it is a good time to stack some silver. If you're the kind of person that likes to have a little bit of real cold hard currency in the house, something that the government can't just willy-nilly inflate to zero or whatever, then precious metals might be something for you to look at. And yes, $17 is a cheap buy-in price for silver. I bought silver first, I think somewhere around $12 in the end of 2008 and the beginning of 2009. So 10 years now, and I've really haven't seen any gains in any of the silver that I bought here. And certainly a lot of the silver that I purchased during that period is still underwater, I guess you could say. So I'm not really a silver investor. I buy silver when I have a little bit of extra cash or other currencies, and I put it away for when I need it, and I do spend it. I've spent silver many times, and it's saved my butt many times. So I advocate owning precious metals. I'm not an investor. I'm not telling you to buy or to sell at any particular level and to try and make profits. That's really not something that interests me. But what do I think is going to happen with the price? I think the price is probably going to go up. It's going to go up for quite some time. And whether or not this is the bottom and we're going to make another little dip down or even go down below to $12 or something, if there's a major economic crash, anything can happen with this chart. And as we know, it's mostly not having anything to do with supply and demand. This is mostly to do with manipulation and what the banks decide the price is going to be. That's just how it's been for, well, this entire time. This entire time has been manipulated. Even back here, even back in the early 2000s, long before that. The gold and silver price have been manipulated for a long time, and they're, especially since 2011, 2013, are completely fake. So I don't know how long that can go. It's been going a lot longer than I thought it ever could. And And what is it going to take to change that? I think a total change in the world economy and the way that we do business and the way that we grow and distribute food and everything. Everything is going to have to change for this to change, because this is part of the status quo. This is part of the Western world's disaster that we're going through right now, the Orwellian nightmare of government control and fascism that's cracking down on the Western world, the censorship, everything. This is not going to go away. This problem is part of a bigger problem. It's part of a corruption at the core of our society. And you're not going to see this price break out and go to $600 anytime soon. Although that probably is a good, estimate for what silver's real value is as a precious metal, as a commodity that's required for electronics and modern life. We are manipulating the price downward and going through the stockpile of physical silver. Well, there is no stockpile of physical silver, and we've gone through it. We're burning as much silver as we can directly from the ground into vaults and then putting it right into electronic devices and other things, and there is no stockpile of silver. So this is not a supply and demand influenced chart. If this was influenced by supply and demand, we know what the supply for silver is. It's not good anymore, but all through this period it was massive, up until even 2015, massive demand for silver, and the price was just dropping and dropping and dropping. And that was what we called the dreaded divergence, the divergence between the price and the demand. Now we're seeing price just languishing and demand just languishing, as many people have forgotten completely about precious metals, just like they had way back in the early 2000s, and it was sleeping and it was just going sideways at, gold was what, $400 or whatever then. We've never seen those levels again, and I don't think we will ever see these levels again either, once we finally break out and leave them alone and just go to new levels, and we'll pass this $50 level and never look back. And silver should not even be in the 2 digits anyway. It's silliness, and the future is going to be a lot different. But like I said, what's going to have to change? Everything. We're going to have to get a completely new world, because they aren't going to let gold and silver prices go unless they have to, unless there's some kind of major physical squeeze or something like that, and they have to let the price move up a little bit. But it's not going to go to its normal correct price. At least it's not going to go to what it should be until there is a completely new paradigm, and I have no idea, of course, when that's going to happen. I think it does need to happen. This world can't go on the way it's going. I know that. Mathematically it can't. Morally it can't. Logically it can't. Something has to change. This is a gold to silver ratio over the past 100 years. It looks differently on the left just because of the way they were keeping data. I guess we have more accurate data points here. But anyway, as you can see, over the past 100 years, the gold to silver ratio has ranged from, what was it here, about 15, 14 at these lows, 15, and then up here almost to 100 at these highs, and we are now at 92 or something. So we are close to as high as it ever gets in history. And when the gold to silver ratio is high, here, and here, these are times of market bottoms. These lows here are times of market tops. That would have been when gold and silver went up. It says here, this is 2011, yeah, that was the top. And here's 2008, that is a bottom, right? So the bottoms of the markets are up here, and the tops of the markets are down here. So we are at or near a bottom in precious metals. That's all this is telling us. It can continue to go. It can go, any higher, any degree higher it wants. It's a ratio. Gold can be 200 times higher than silver. It doesn't have to stop here at 100, although it has in the past. Seems to stop just below 100, but that's just coincidence. This isn't a percentage, this is a ratio. So it can go higher, but will it? I don't know. Historically, it does not tend to do so. So it looks like we're near or at a bottom in precious metals. In Bitcoin, this is the daily Bitcoin chart. We've had a few down days in a row after a move upward, but mostly this is just a sideways consolidation. So what we can do is we can go back and look at a broader chart, a 3-day chart, or even a weekly chart. This is from the low of 3,200 in Bitcoin. and that big move up, and the next follow-up moves, and the top at 13, just about 14,000, and we're now at 10.6. So it has been choppy since it made this big move up. It's been choppy sideways, but I expect that as this finishes making a cup and handle pattern and reaches that high again, it will continue to break out toward the $20,000 level. And from my blog on the Steam blockchain, Walmart to become unregulated financial institution using a virtual currency linked to retinal scans. Walmart says their currency may act as a pre-approved biometric credit. A person is the credit card to their own digital bank, end quote. Whatever that means. Calling it digital currency 202. Currency 202 may be any form of digital currency, for example, virtual currency or cryptocurrency. It's not going to be a cryptocurrency, it's going to be a virtual currency. Walmart makes it clear that 202 won't be bound by traditional laws or regulations around currency. It's nice that they can just say that, like, oh, we're not gonna go by the rules, go by the laws of the land. We got our own currency. We don't have to obey the laws. That's kind of interesting. Stating that it will be a combination of cryptocurrency like Monero or Bitcoin and virtual currency like Canadian Tire Money or video game gold. It's just really worse than fiat. It's nothing. It's digital and it's nothing. It's backed by nothing. There's some Canadian Tire money on a chip on a card, plastic card, but no coins, notes, cards, or chips required, and no key to protect. Retinal scans will provide security, i.e. a massive loss of privacy and safety. 202 will involve the use of a blockchain, but it's not clear what function that will have. The currency, more like video game gold than a real crypto, will be pegged to a fiat currency, which is going to be the US dollar. Instant loans, credit may be available. Balances may earn interest. We're not sure yet. Fees will be lower than in the legacy banking system. Walmart says it aims to increase its bottom line while helping their target customer pay less to banks in fees, interest, and fines. And then they figure that money will come to us instead of going to the banks. So basically Walmart wants to be your bank. And it's going to involve some kind of a digital currency, and it's going to use your biometric ID from your retina. Interesting. Facebook started off with Libra, now Walmart's working on currency 202. The lines between banks, central banks, governments, and corporations are blurring rapidly. And this is Walmart's currency flow chart for how they plan to profit off of this concept. The floodgate has opened, and soon every major and many smaller companies will be issuing their own digital currencies, many of them much closer to the virtual side than the crypto side. Will this cause a regulator crackdown to save the legacy economy? Perhaps that's what's being done in the first place. After all, both Walmart and Facebook are basically government programs at this point. Walmart may be acting like they're doing this simply as profiteers, but I suspect they're acting alongside the deep state on this, just as Zuckerberg is. All by design. Be ready for a huge regulatory crackdown, which will attempt to rein in the real cryptocurrencies. Ironically, it's these real cryptos that will emerge unscathed and unfazed by the legacy economy's attempts to regain power over us. Control over the currency supply is control over every aspect of people's lives. This is why we need real cryptocurrencies so badly right now. So many people are going to be swept up in these nightmarish control grid technologies, not paying attention to the nuances, thinking they're saving themselves time, hassle, or money. I see people lining up to put their heads into nooses. Nooses they paid for with their life's efforts. As for me, I'm saying no to corrupt corporate currencies. Silver and gold are my preferred storage methods for physical money. As for currency, decentralized and private cryptos are the free market. That's where you'll find me. Or not. And also from Steam, New York Post's secret source reveals Epstein hung himself with a sheet from a bed rail. And I wrote here, I worked in psychiatry for 10 years with extremely suicidal patients, many on constant observation, i.e. suicide watch. I've seen hangings, successful and unsuccessful. I've seen suicides, murders. Never would such a high-profile and high-risk patient or inmate be given the tools or privacy to hang themselves while on a unit. There's almost no way this could have happened, and certainly not at all in the way that we're being told. Impossible for so many reasons. I don't know what happened, but I know he didn't kill himself with a sheet. People have been saying the photo supposedly shows Epstein on a stretcher. It might not really be him. So I did a quick comparison. There's the photo of him when he's dead, and here is a regular photo of him turned sideways to match. I don't know. I'm no expert, but that looks similar to me, but that doesn't prove anything because, of course, it could have all been staged. This whole thing could have been staged. Or that could be a Photoshop or whatever. As I said here, how is there no video footage of what happened? There's unwanted video footage of me walking to the corner store this afternoon from many different angles, but no footage inside maximum security jail. Are they worried about invading the inmate's privacy or something? I don't think we'll get to see the footage. Why was the world's biggest suicide risk taken off of Suicide Watch as the trial of the decade began? And will the hundreds of rich elite pedophiles that were at risk of being exposed now get away with their deeds? Or will at least some of them get away with their deeds, at least for a while longer, unfortunately? And when will the throng of victims of coercion, enslavement, drugging, beating, rape, murder, and torture get any justice? Is Epstein even dead? If not, is he in Israel now, or on a backup private island? If he's alive, how much of the past several weeks has all been a big show? A false narrative playing out in the news, no evidence to back it up, just a threat of punishment for anyone who doesn't eat up the official nonsense. Of course, you're not allowed to talk about anything like that anymore on YouTube, and if you do, not only can you be deleted and shadow banned forever, but you can be labeled an extremist and perhaps someone who's about to commit genocides, according to the FBI, all because you believe in conspiracy theories, which we know are happening all around us all the time and continue to be uncovered, including this conspiracy here. So it's funny that we're not allowed to talk about conspiracies even though they are clearly happening. That's a dangerous, dangerous precedent. Out in the backyard now, obviously. My little garden patch. Slowly plowing my way across it. About a third of the way to the back now. And when I first got here, 5 or 6 weeks ago, I guess, I planted some basil, and it's growing up with a little bed of purslane around it. A couple plants that I like. And garlic is another plant I like, and that will be planted as usual in the fall. It's a bulb, it gets planted in the fall. And so that's my goal. I'm working my way to the back of the garden with the shovel, bit by bit. And by the time the garlic needs to be planted, the garden will be ready. And next year will be a lot more interesting here in the garden videos. I'm going to do some interesting stuff here and grow a garden full of food. And I know gardening isn't that exciting a topic for people that aren't into it. Feel free to skip these videos of mine, these posts of mine. But for me personally, gardening is an important thing, and it's an important topic. I need to do it, and I sometimes need to talk about it even too. It's different than a lot of the other topics on this channel. I talk a lot about broader stuff, the world and how to improve or how to save the world, basically. Bigger topics anyway than plowing a garden. So I understand if it's not interesting, but sometimes it's important, I think, to focus on the smaller stuff in life and make some goals and actually achieve them, and set your goals and accomplish something. So I'm going to accomplish this garden, and you can follow along if you like. I've been working on this compost here, filling it up and getting some soil ready for next year. And there's the rhubarb. It was hacked back drastically a few weeks ago, but it's growing quickly. Oh, good. Anything grown in this garden will be rich in iron. And newsflash, these are not grapes. As I mistakenly said last time, they're a grape-like plant. I don't know, Virginia creeper or something. Yeah, it just grows along this wall. I guess it's mostly ornamental. The rose is recovering, growing up nicely. I see what I think is a little bit of powdery mildew maybe starting. The leaves just don't look quite as green. They look a little bit dusted with something maybe. Might be powdery mildew. The weather has been fairly mixed, which is good for powdery mildew. It's been like warm and then moist and wet and then raining and then drying out again, and so yeah. But no aphids yet. That's looking pretty good, and by next year I should have some rose blooms on here. There is a walnut tree here. I don't like walnut trees personally. I was battling one at Grandma's house for years trying to kill it off, and it just kept on growing back and I could not get rid of it. This one here is supposed to stay here, according to the landlord, so okay, it will. And I don't have a dog, at least not yet, but that would be cool. There's a couple little flower beds here in the front. Not sure what that is, the irises or something maybe. They were a mess. I cleaned them up and see what happens in the spring. Got some raspberries here. Looks like there's going to be another harvest of berries coming up. That's cool. Oh, there's a bumblebee in there. Do you collect anything? Obviously I collect rocks. I've picked up a lot of rocks in my lifetime and just not really ever gone looking for rocks. I just look down, I guess, a lot. And I pick up any interesting rocks I find, and I'm 40-something years old, and I've been doing it since I was a little kid, so it's almost 40 years worth of rocks. Each one of these has a story. I don't remember them all, but I do for some of them anyway. Some of them are gifts, and a lot of them I just found or I traded with other people that collect rocks. That's kind of one of the way I got rocks when I was a kid, as I got together with other people that had rock collections and traded our favorite rocks. Isn't that weird? I guess kids don't do that a lot anymore. That's, you know, coin collections, stamp collections. A lot of collections are kind of going the way of the dodo. But I just thought I would show you briefly these rocks. Each one, I mean, some of them aren't interesting on the side that they're showing. Some of them are only interesting for maybe something on the other side, but you know, each one of these individual rocks is something that caught my eye, something that was different, and whether or not it's just shiny or it has a specific stripe. I think I have some petrified wood here even. Some were just interesting for their shape. Symmetrical, cool rocks, conglomerate rocks made of all kinds of different stuff. That's a really cool piece. But that's got like a rim of some kind of quartz or something on it. Found this in Alberta, I think it was, or maybe it was the Rockies of British Columbia. Same with that one. It was a gift from my grandpa, some crystals, amethyst crystals, I think. I'm not going to go through them all, but sometimes it was for the shape, sometimes it was for the texture, sometimes it was for the material, the color. I have some polished agates and things, some shells, various shells and corals, I guess, that I found in New Zealand. Yeah. Anyway, what do you collect? Lastly, a shot of my silver coin collection. Well, silver coin and round collection, I guess. Just a bunch of silver and copper, I guess, that I got in various places from subscribers over the years, or from eBay, or from coin shops, or from friends, various adventures. I love silver. I love it as a metal. I love it as a store of value. I love it as private money. Talk to you guys soon.